VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss, Pauly Howard with you as we are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino Loaded Wednesday edition over the next 3 hours. Rich Gannon, former NFL MVP on the NFL, and goings on there in 15 minutes. Sal Palantonio, his best bets of the week, coming up in an hour. Mike Palm, 90 minutes, and Dallin Cuff from ESPN on, honestly, one of the best early season midweek college basketball cards I can ever remember. That is no hyperbole. It is phenomenal tonight. And this is going to be a fun show. And I've been looking forward to it for almost 24 hours now. Let me start with this. Couple of things that I personally learned last night. One, and I didn't want to buy in, but you have to, and silly me for not doing it before last night, it is a TV show. It's a popularity contest. And that part of it completely sucks to me. Also, never trust media, right, with opinion pieces. You broke this down on Monday when you had like 10 people who said Miami is in their opinion, over Alabama. And so it looked good. Make a bet on Miami to make the playoffs at a juicy price because, well, according to them, they would be ahead of Alabama. Never forget, or let me rephrase. Always remember what the committee feels about programs such as Ohio State and Alabama, and then never get emotionally involved in this stuff. That's what I have to say. That's what I learned last night, and I also think the writing is on the wall. I think the committee gave us the blueprint last night, and I made a bet on Alabama at minus $5 today to make the playoff. I think this is, call it whatever you want. I think this is Trevor Lawrence going number 1 overall in the draft. I think it's Wembanyama going number 1 overall in the draft. I think it's Floyd Mayweather over Conor McGregor. I think they're telling you that Bama is in no matter what, and I had to make the bet. I think $5, you can find minus 370 at DraftKings. I can't bet there. I might have to drive to Arizona to find a better price and add more to it. I think it should be minus 2,000 for them to get in.
Unfortunate. He was asked that, and that's his answer, and it's appalling, it's a disgrace.
I totally agree.
In the defense of the media people, they did lie to us. They lied to us the entire season with what they thought of Miami, and then they just flipped it on us as well, which will happen when you don't have set criteria.
That's true.
Again, and they make it up as they go. So, I hate to use this word, but it's a fixed and a rigged game. And it's all about the Big Ten and the SEC, and it doesn't matter resume, it's all about logo. And the Alabama fatigue, and as Dennis Dodd said, who covers college football, since the inception of the BCS, this program has got every break every time. And imagine if you're the ACC, you're going to have 13-0 Florida State, just win your games, that's what counts. Left out, undefeated 13-0 Florida State, and then you're going to go 10-2 Miami, no. And 11-2 SMU, possibly no, not getting in. But 4 from the SEC. The other thing is about how this is a fixed and a rigged game. As all 3 polls, how does Miami go from 6 to 12 by losing a road game to a ranked team by 4 points? And Ohio State loses at home as a 20-point favorite and they only drop 4 spots.
Well,
I mean, how does Alabama move up 3 spots beating Mercer? How does Alabama jump 2 spots, beating Auburn at home, and South Carolina beats Clemson on the road and moves up 1 spot? Why is Missouri ranked? Why was Missouri ranked the whole year?
I laughed last night when I saw him at number 19.
Yeah, it's by design. It was to keep Alabama having a good win, because what did he trot out there last night? Oh, no, it's based on the current top 25. Not wins against teams with a winning record, not wins against teams that are bowl eligible. It's teams against the current top 25. Oh, by the way, Duke and Louisville are 26 and 28,
right,
who Miami beat. But nope, can't do it.
And oh, by the way,
current.
This weekend is irrelevant to those teams. He said that last night.
No, good point.
There's no data point matters.
That was the best question that was asked, because Army can lose and UNLV can lose, and that could put Duke and Louisville then in the top 25. The question was asked, what if? Nope, doesn't matter.
Nope.
It's already decided.
Yep,
Oh, it is.
Alabama will not drop behind Miami.
Okay.
And, I mean, I don't know how you were watching I don't care who you root for. I don't care who it is. I don't care if you're an Ohio State fan or an Alabama fan or which team that you root for. If you were watching last night and what Pauly just said, if that didn't piss you off, then you don't have a pulse. For this committee to drop Miami 6 spots in the rankings after losing on the road to a now 9-3 ranked team, and Ohio State at home laying 3 touchdowns, scored 10 points to a bad football team, and they lost, and then the committee mocked everybody last night by saying, but rivalry games are so important, and you don't know how special they are unless you played in one.
Yeah.
It's just, but that's what I said 3 minutes ago. It doesn't sound like it right now, but I did remove myself emotionally from this garbage a couple of years ago. I'm going to be 50 in a couple of years. I can't let this affect me. Too many things in my life do. So I don't want. I've been on blood pressure medications since I was 28. That's 20 years now. Okay. So this is just one more thing that added to it over time, and I'm like, I'm going to eliminate the garbage, and this was part of it.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. What do they think's going to happen? What do they think is going to happen?
Why, there's going to be a revolt down south?
If they want to take their ball and go home and start their own playoff, let them. And it goes back, and Pat Forty wrote about this today. For Greg Sankey, the SEC commissioner, on October 10th, said this, quote, has to go incredibly well for us. Screw you. Just leave then. Leave. What, people aren't going to watch the playoff because Alabama doesn't get in? Lane Kiffin's still complaining? You lost to Kentucky at home. Sit down.
Right.
Get lost. SOS goes out the window when you have bad losses. As you said Monday, Alabama should have been eliminated, losing 24-3 to a bad Oklahoma team. Didn't score a touchdown for the first time since 2011. What are we watching? What are we doing here? Yeah. This was common sense. I could have got there with the South Carolina thing. I really could. It's like, this is what this playoff was put in for. They're hot. Let's put them in. They only lost by 2 at Bama. It was on the road. Let's go for it. But once I saw Syracuse pop up at 22, South Carolina never had a chance, by the way. They had better odds than Miami to get in. You see South Carolina 14, Ole Miss 13. I go, okay, here we go. Here comes Bama 12. We're set. They're going to do the right thing. Nope.
There was a terrific piece that I tweeted out last night as well from David Hale on ESPN.com.
Oh, he's so good.
Did you read that?
I read everything he tweeted. He's right. I mean, he made all the great points, but yeah, sure.
In his story, he basically broke down why every single team on the outside looking in behind Alabama has a better resume, and they're more deserving than the Crimson Tide. But isn't it funny, though? Losses always mattered in the 4-team playoff until last year, right? Never would a one-loss team get in over an undefeated team because, oh my God, that means the world of the committee. Or a 2-loss team with a dynamite schedule could never get in over a 1-loss team, even if they played cupcakes, because you had 2 losses and the other team only had 1. But until last year, conveniently enough, and I don't care that Jordan Travis got hurt. Yes, that's a big loss, but Florida State ran the table, went 13-0, and they had to shove Alabama in our faces and make sure that they got squeezed into the Final Four because it's the SEC and big bad Bama, even though they had 1 loss, and the same thing happened again this year. Funny enough, it's a non-Big Ten team and a non-SEC team named Miami, who, as you've been saying all week long, they weren't super popular for 30 years.
Yeah,
they were.
They ran a sport in the 80s.
The ratings were unbelievable when they were the best thing going.
Yeah.
But you can't have that because they have 2 losses and they're in the ACC, and I don't care that Bama has 3 losses. They got to get in.
Yeah.
They will come up with anything, and that's why I think, again, minus $4 for Bama to make. There's no book in Las Vegas offering this right now. You're telling me, after what we watched last night, if SMU loses to Clemson this weekend, they're going to put SMU in over Alabama? Oh, come on. What world are we living in to believe that?
And they just said all year, we're not going to penalize a team for making the championship game.
Well, again, they're lying.
Yeah, because they thought it would come down to an SEC team. And Lane Kiffin was worried about that. As David Hale said, how can I get ranked wins when you won't put these ACC teams in the top 25?
Right.
You control the top 25. I can't get ranked wins then.
Missouri ranked.
Because you're playing games with Missouri and Illinois. And the other thing, sitting in a corner, having a snack, and praying no one talks about them is Indiana. As David Hale said, if 9-3 Bama can get in over 10-2 Miami, why can't Miami get in over Indiana? Who played? Great story. They played the worst schedule I've ever seen from a power league.
Yeah.
They beat Michigan. They're in the playoff, no questions asked.
Yeah,
that
no,
schedule
nothing.
is laughable. UCLA, Charlotte, Maryland, Northwestern, Nebraska, Michigan State, Western Illinois, Florida International, Western Illinois, Purdue. Come on. Indiana shouldn't be in. But this is just 2 close losses. And I also thought we were going to get there because ESPN themselves tweeted Monday, look at the record against bowl-eligible teams on the road. Miami 4-2, Bama 1-3. No, it's got to be current top 25.
And I thought this was a great tweet, too, from, I don't remember who it was, but Miami went 1-2. This is why they held them out, right? They said this last night. They were held out. They went 1-2 in their last 3 games by an average of 4.5 points. They also lost to ranked Syracuse and Georgia Tech, who, by the way, they were up 21 points on Georgia and went to 8 overtimes with them. Bama went 2-1. Who'd they beat? 5-7 Auburn. Rivalry games. It matters. They got absolutely blasted by a bad Oklahoma team, and they beat Mercer. There you go again. Yep. The stupid conference, and they scheduled the teams that they're favored by 49 points against in the FCS every year, late November, so they get a cakewalk, but that's not held against them. And they refuse to play 9 league games.
Yep.
And they get pass after pass after pass. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
I would play 8 league games and play cupcakes in November.
100%.
If I'm the ACC, I say Clemson is my champ. SMU, don't play. We are saying Clemson is our automatic bid winner because SMU is out if they lose. And they still, SMU wins, doesn't happen. Stay at 8. SMU can't move up. They can only get penalized for the game they stay. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. So this is the beauty of the SEC. They figured it out decades ago when they put this schedule together. And why other leagues haven't copied it, it's beyond me. Do the same thing. Go to 8 league games and play a team that you're going to be favored by 63 points over on November 14th.
That's right.
And you should be fine.
At least get 2 in.
Yeah.
Can't even get 2 teams from these leagues.
Former NFL MVP Rich Gannon on the show coming up next. How worried is he about the Detroit injuries, and who does he like tomorrow night between them and the Packers?
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Join the guru, John Hansen, at the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports on Prop Points, only on VSiN.
And shout out to Elijah Moore as well. Oftentimes he's Elijah less. Keep in mind, Sean Payton is evil for fantasy football.
John and his guests will help you find the connection between the two and give you his expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points, every weekday at 2 p.m. Eastern on VSiN, the sports betting network.
So, Pauly, have you had a chance to read the VSiN Daily yet?
Yeah. Came in at 3 a.m. What's Bill doing up that late?
Well, rumor has it, it starts off with a 12-hour meditation session.
Then he just pours himself over film and live TV, really focusing and taking it all in. Bill's in with the biggest insiders, talking trade secrets, strategies, the whole nine, absorbing the info.
And then and only then can the writing process begin.
In Las Vegas, Bill's late night becomes your early morning. Wake up to the very latest betting insights in your inbox with the VSiN Daily. Sign up for free at vsin.com/newsletter.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We move from college football and the committee show last night into the NFL. As one of our favorite guests every single week, Rich Gannon, former MVP in this league, joins the program now. He is on the Progressive guest line. Good afternoon, Rich. Thanks for the time as always. How are you?
Guys, I'm doing great. I'm in our West Coast studios at VSiN, way west. So I am looking forward to getting in studios soon to be with you guys. But it's always a pleasure. Something I look forward to every Wednesday afternoon.
Yep, same here. Let's begin with the game tomorrow night. Very intriguing. The Lions at 11-1, 10-game winning streak. Yet they're not running away with this division, nor are they running away with the 1 seed, which is incredible. What do you make of the injuries now defensively short-term and what it means tomorrow night against the Packers, and then long-term potentially for the Lions to get the 1 seed overall?
I can't wait, guys, when you look at the matchup. I always I grew up in the NFC Central back in the day between the Vikings and Bears and Packers and Lions. So, I followed this division with great interest. And you look at this season and how well these two teams have played. These teams, 11-1, 9-3, as you mentioned, but the second best combined record entering an NFC North matchup all time, and the best combined record entering a Thursday night game since the 2011 Thanksgiving matchup between these two teams. So, I think that the Lions are just so strong on the offensive side of the ball. I think they have the best offensive line in the league, along with the Philadelphia Eagles. Got a quarterback that's played really well this season. He's been in just on the outskirts of, at times he's been on the outskirts of the MVP conversation. Two great backs with Gibbs and Montgomery, really good receivers, and a defense that's played better than a lot of people thought after Aiden Hutchinson went out. You look at where they're at. This is why I really like the Lions this year, guys. Number 1 scoring offense and a number 2 scoring defense this season. That's a pretty good combination. Only 2 teams since 1970 have finished with the NFL's number 1 scoring offense and number 1 scoring defense. Those teams, 72 Dolphins and the 96 Packers, both won Super Bowls. This is a good team. And the injuries do concern me, but the safety play and the linebacking core and the cornerback position has really made up for what hasn't been a dynamic pass rush at times. But now you play a Packers team that's playing pretty well. Jordan Love has curtailed the interceptions here the last 2 weeks. I just think this is going to be a great shootout on Thursday night.
This is right up your alley. You're an unbelievable analyst. You are a leader, quarterback, MVP. Gibbs tweets out a picture, and behind him on a white board are code words of pass protections. And is this a big deal? Do they have to change stuff? Campbell said no, but take us through that, what he did, and if this is a big deal or not.
It doesn't help, right? Like we don't, and again, it's just, sometimes, you have to learn from your mistakes. And I think the best teams in the league, guys, learn from other people's mistakes. In other words, if you're in that locker room and you're a member of the Lions, I'm not going to do that. If you're on another locker room, I'm not going to be in the running back meeting room or a team meeting room and shoot a selfie or send something out with a message that has some of the game plan and code words that could be very helpful and beneficial to a defense, particularly a Mike linebacker, even a defensive lineman. So, look, this is how often you're going to hear those words is the quarterback. They have other code words and stuff. They'll certainly maybe clean some things up this week. I don't think it's a huge deal, but it certainly doesn't help. But it's a great learning experience and a teaching tool, not just for Dan Campbell in Detroit, but other coaches around the league.
Is there any chance a team would ever do this on purpose and fake what is
I know
on
where you're going with this.
Okay, fake what's on the whiteboard to throw teams for a loop?
Happens a lot. So we'd have certain hand signals that we used, and Peyton Manning was really good at this. He would hand signal like a hitch route, and he would have already told Marvin Harrison in the huddle, the next time I hand signaled a hitch, run a hitch and go. And so you'd be really demonstrative. You make sure that you did it, a couple times to make sure the corner sees it, right? And you really exaggerate it, like, hey, here, hammer, hitch, hammer. And all of a sudden, you put the bait on the hook. So, there's teams that do that. That may happen this week. They might make a rip call, rip. And you think the line's going to turn to the right, and instead the rip means, a Louis call. So, they won't make a big deal because it only takes one guy to screw it up. But, I think it's certainly, something you want to be aware of moving forward. Like, you got to be smart. There's the old story about Bill Walsh was going to I think it was a Packers Monday night game, and the 49ers were playing the Packers, and he wasn't even coaching at the time. And someone asked him for an autograph. He took out a piece of paper from his playbook and signed it. It was the first 15 plays of the game. So, you got to be careful.
You got to be careful. Do you know the Mike Leach story? I remember, can you tell that story? He dropped a piece of paper on purpose on the ground, and I think they scored
Mike was brilliant.
Yeah.
Mike was brilliant. He was ahead of the curve when it came to stuff like that, gamesmanship and stuff. But there's so many. Here's what I think really good teams do. They learn from other people's mistakes. You saw what happened. I made the point this morning on my radio show. Like when you look at what happened to Trevor Lawrence, that's a teaching moment for me as a quarterback coach. You say, well, what can we do differently? Well, when we slide, let's not show our chest plate and our neck and our head to the opponent. When we slide, let's make sure our shoulder blades are hitting the turf. Let's make sure we get all the way down and we go flat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give a defensive player the opportunity to knock me out of the game. So there's teaching moments out there and at other people's expense. And that's how the really good teams get better.
Very good. Incredible as always. Rich Gannon, our guest. Follow the money. Pauly and Mitch VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. What do you see with Cousins? It's a tough situation now. You can see there's nothing on the ball. Whether he's hurt, there's no velocity, the 4 interceptions. Can you start the rookie on the road in a hostile environment? Do you give him a quick hook? Take us through what you saw with Cousins and if it can improve, or the injuries can't move and no nothing on the football.
You can't because you're 6-6, right? You've already beaten the Buccaneers twice, and so you're right in the thick of things. And that what I think is kind of a not a very good NFC South at the moment. So look, he's not played well. I would when you talk about Kirk Cousins, guys, I would also throw into that conversation Aaron Rodgers. You have a 41-year-old quarterback in New York. You've got an aging quarterback in Atlanta. You've got both coming off of Achilles ruptures. Both don't move well. And you talk about the arm talent, you bring up a great point. A lot of what we do at the quarterback position is generated from our lower body, right? And when you have an Achilles rupture, you don't have that strength maybe in the calf, the hamstring, the quad. You're not able to generate the torque and velocity on throws. And as the season wears on, and your body gets tired, it affects the thrower. So, Kirk Cousins never has been fleet of foot, never been great in a muddy pocket. And that's what's happening right now. I think he's lost a little bit of his confidence and swagger a little bit. And they've never been good on defense. That being said, they wasted an opportunity last week where the defense actually stepped up against the Chargers and played really well. But when I look at the Falcons, guys, I've been saying this all season long. If they make the playoffs, they'll be one and done. They're not good enough right now. They're not good enough on the protection scheme. Offensively, the quarterback's not playing well, and defensively, they're not in the top half of the league, and in really any major statistical category.
Yeah, well said. Follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, former NFL MVP Rich Gannon, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Who do you think the next head coach should be of the Chicago Bears?
Somebody that can coach the entire football team. I think Matt Eberflus was a good defensive coordinator, wasn't really able to step over to that offensive meeting room and clean up some of the issues that they were having. I think Ryan Poles, guys, in all honesty, he's a lineman, and their offensive line and defense line isn't good enough. When you have a young quarterback, they lead the league in sacks. Now, half of them are on him because he holds the ball. Although he has played better here since the coordinator change, he's getting rid of the ball a lot quicker. But I just think from an organizational standpoint, they got to get somebody to see. Everyone will say, go hire, Ben Johnson. Go hire like a guy that can coach Cliff Kingsbury. Go get one of those guys. No. Get somebody who can coach the entire football team. Don't worry about who the play caller is going to be right away. Find somebody who can coach the entire football team, and then go out and put together a good staff, good offensive coordinator, good defense coordinator, good special teams coordinator, good strength and conditioning coach. That's how you build a championship football team, not by just going out and hiring somebody who can call plays and coach up the young quarterback.
So the Jags, Raiders, and Giants are all 2-10. We have 5 games left in the regular season. Well, a month, we'll call it. How much pride will those players show up with on a week-to-week basis to close out the season?
Well, if they're smart, they'll play as hard as they possibly can, because here's what I do know, guys. Everyone that steps on the field, even the practice field, every day is being evaluated. And not just by the current GM and the current head coach and the current offensive coordinator and defense coordinator, but the next staff that comes in. And another staff's coming in. And the first thing they're going to do is going to watch all 17 games from the year before. And they're going to evaluate every player. They're going to evaluate the scheme, the staff, the personnel, and they're going to say who played hard, who should we keep, and who should we get rid of. And not only that, but the other team that you may be going to is going to watch. Your body of work is out there for everybody to see. And this is a privilege. I say it all the time, guys. It's a privilege to play in the NFL. And it really bothers me when you see guys, shutting it down, not playing hurt, turning down a hit in the hole. You cannot do that.
No, I think you're spot on for sure. Love talking to you, Rich. Thanks so much for the time. Have a good week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, okay?
You guys are the best. See you.
There you
Well
go.
done.
Former NFL MVP Rich Gannon joined us here on the Progressive Guest Line. You know, Mike Pritchard, who has been a VSiN contributor over the years, he said the same exact thing when I've talked to him. And I've known Mike for like 20 years. Did a radio show with him in Las Vegas for a while. He said the same exact thing. You're a pro. Guys do not want to punt because you want a job.
Yeah.
So you can't make it look like you're giving up on the year.
I didn't heard the Bill Walsh story before.
Oh, my God.
That is awesome.
Yep. Up next, look ahead numbers next week in the NFL. Based on their opponent, it might be the only time all year they have a true home field advantage.
Sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup, then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Always a pleasure talking to former NFL MVP Rich Gannon. How good is that guy?
A plus.
Man, you can throw anything at him.
You can. And the stories, and yes.
Watches, tracks everything, players, teams, coaches, the whole thing. All right, so we have look-ahead numbers to week number 15 in the National Football League. These are up and available at DraftKings. The Thursday night game, the Rams are playing at the 49ers. San Francisco is laying 3, and the total is 47. I mean, this team is down so many the injuries to the backfield. Did you see the story about Trent Williams?
Terrible.
Oh, God, is that sad.
I know. It's that kind of year. And I know Shanahan has owned McVay, but this might be enormous for the Rams, depending on what happens in this Seattle game.
I would agree.
So we can't make the case for the Niners. And in this rare situation where they're playing out the string, likely.
What if Stafford's hurt, though?
Yeah. That's always big about who's going to play and who's compromised, too. And certainly that was a pathetic performance by the Niners after that first drive Sunday night.
Now, how about this for a tease? The Ravens are laying 13 on the road against the Giants. But those remaining in Circa Survivor, they can't use them if they're waiting to play them on Christmas Day anyway.
Right.
So they have to find another team.
Right. Some people face that conundrum Sunday. They have Pittsburgh available, but then you have to keep them for Christmas or you have to ride or die in the Bears game. $14 million on the line, that's all. You want to go with the Bears? I mean, that's what some people are facing this Sunday.
Okay.
But it's sitting right there for you, right? It appears to be a layup. But what do you want to do on Christmas?
So this is the bet that has been gold to the tune of 68, 70% since the pandemic year. Giants, when playing at home, you take the under.
Yes.
But it's the Ravens we're talking about and that offense, and the total is 44.5. But we'll do this later on. Best teams ATS and over-under in NFL and college football. Ravens are number 1 in the NFL to the over.
Yeah. If it's Tommy DeVito, it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah, it will be.
And between that offensive line and even Locke didn't have a chance on Thanksgiving. Even it didn't even look like he practiced. What happened? Why isn't he getting reps? The guy's a veteran. And the pick six was enormous, but they stunk in that game.
Commanders are 3 on the road against the Saints, and the total there is 49.
Well, they're doing a better job defensively, but every week they lose someone on the offensive side of the ball. So I think Washington gets it done and gets the cover here. They're playing hard, but it's just you lose Hill now. You can't let Scantling do this. The guy was
a total bust.
Terrible. Right.
Every spot that he was at,
he couldn't catch the ball. He was a liability, and now he's having success in New Orleans. So I trust Quinn here in Washington.
Let me tell you, reading and listening to a lot of NFL content every single day, there is a lot of negativity on the Commanders, and I don't get it. I heard today, just in fact, that this team might miss the playoffs, and they're making the case. I'm like, who's going to catch the Commanders to make the playoffs? They have to fall on their faces and pretty much lose out, and then a team like the Falcons will have to have several more wins.
Well, they play one another. That'd be big. But, I'm not there yet. But certainly it was alarming what happened against Dallas.
Yeah. Chiefs are 6.5 on the road against the Browns, total 44.5.
Yeah. Yolo's going to turn it over. How many times? How many times?
He will. Okay, so based on that, are you confident enough in Jameis Winston throwing enough INTs to lay 6.5 with the Chiefs? I don't think I can do it.
Well, the other thing is, can you fix these red zone issues? Come on, Andy. They can't be this bad in the red zone. It should have been a blowout against the Raiders.
Right.
And they're letting teams hang around. And then the issues they had defensively against Carolina, too. But it's unacceptable. That game should, it's 16-3. They keep first and goal. Can't capitalize. Field goal. Same thing with the Denver game. Same thing. Should have won that game and put Denver away. And then they had to block the field goal, too. So should win, should cover. But it's the Chiefs. Probably win by 4.
Probably. Okay, so I wrote about a bunch of these games today at VSiN.com. I also tweeted it out at Mitch Moss Radio. One game I wrote about, Bengals and Titans. Cincy, talking about teams that are good at the over. They are 9-3. Second best mark in the league. Titans, either depends on how you grade it, 7-4-1 or 8-4 to the over as well. The defense it was good to begin the year, especially against the run, but I think maybe forget about that now. The total is 49. I think it's still a little bit too low.
Well, it was a good question to Rich about what happens now, and you were asking about the 2-win teams. What happens in Cincinnati? It's Super Bowl talk. I mean, you expect to go to the playoffs and make a deep run, and you're going to lose 10 games maybe. So after coming back at home and you give up all those points to Wilson and the Steelers, I'm worried.
I actually like this game and the total better.
Yeah.
I like Dallas and Carolina to go over 44 more than I like the Bengals and the Titans to go over 49. They're two of the best teams, again, going over all year long. The Cowboys' offense has clearly improved under Cooper Rush last couple of weeks. Carolina's defense is look away hideous, and Bryce Young is getting better.
Yes.
And you can run the football all day against Dallas.
Yeah. I was going to say, too, I also want to see what happens Monday night with Cincinnati.
Okay, fair.
Because that's another one where they would just check out, too. Boy, it's bad for the Texans.
I know.
2.5 at home against Miami.
Think about that. That caught my attention, too.
And Miami's in business here. I mean, still, you're up against it. You're going to need the Colts to beat Denver and suffer some other losses, and they have some tough games coming up. But you get the Jets twice. You go to Houston. You go to Cleveland. And you play the 49ers at home. A month ago, that no way, no how. That looked vicious, vile, and nasty. Not the case. If you couldn't beat Tennessee a couple of weeks ago with all the breaks and you almost blow a 20-point lead to Mac Jones, it's Dolphins.
Yeah. Can the Dolphins squeeze into the playoffs?
Yeah, you have to probably run the table, but there's losses coming for Denver. They have to go to L.A., see what happens Week 18 against Kansas City. They have some tough games.
Oh, you want to talk about a game. The Jets are at the Jags.
Oh, here we go again.
The Jets are laying 3, and the total is 40.5.
Oh, boy.
Now, they're 3.5, actually, at DraftKings. Boy, oh, boy.
Why wouldn't you just sit Rodgers and just say it's over?
Yep.
It's enough already, right? And just clean house. Coaching staff, bringing a new quarterback. Oh, boy.
Yeah, at this point, what are you going to see down the stretch? Hey, he played well in the final month. Let's bring him back next year and go 7-10? I don't know. But I can't. Can you get behind Mac Jones?
I know.
All right.
Well, there's no point to bring Lawrence back. He's probably going to miss time anyway after that.
Miss the rest of the year.
That big hit, right? Yeah. How is this a late game? This is the game of the year in the NFL, and it's an afternoon game?
Yeah.
Bills-Lions? Come on.
They can't flex to this one?
This is the biggest game of the season. And it's a late game, and the late schedule, other than Patriots-Cardinals, is fire. The late games are great.
Mm-hmm.
But we got 5 of them here, and then this is one of them. I can't believe it's a late game.
So when I wrote about this last night for VSiN.com, it was 2. Detroit was 2. And I said, this is telling you that the Bills are the highest power-rated team in the NFL because the Lions are 9-3 ATS on the year, and they're covering by like 9 points per game. They're 4-2 ATS at home, covering by more than 8 points per game. And also, think about the schedule spot for the Bills. They are playing on the road this week in Los Angeles. They then go back home, and then they have to fly to Detroit to play this game in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Detroit will have an extra 4 days to prep for this game. They've had extra rest once this year compared to their opponent. That was off their bye week against Dallas. They won 47-9. I know they have the injuries. This is too short of a number, in my opinion. I love Buffalo. It's a great story. I've been making the case for McDermott to win Coach of the Year for 2 weeks now. And they can come out of the AFC. This has to be 3, in my opinion, at least.
All right. No opinion.
All right.
Total might be too high. That's a big number. 50.5 is a big one.
All right. Pats at Cardinals. Arizona 7, 45.5. Cardinals will be very popular in Survivor, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Teasers too. Yep.
All right. Steelers at the Eagles. Ooh. Philly 4.5. Think about this.
Here we go.
This is the beginning of a 10-day stretch for the Steelers at Philly, at Ravens, at Chiefs, or at home to the Chiefs.
I can't go against Philly.
No, neither could I.
This defense is nasty. And that running game going to wear you out and wear you down. I am concerned what's going on with this Pittsburgh defense. What's the deal here? Danny Dimes moved the ball on you. Bengals moved the ball up and down the field on you. You had the defensive touchdown.
I would think the Eagles are going to be able to do...
Winston moved the ball on you.
Yeah, true.
Right?
I mean, is this going to be a bad game for Hurts and Barkley? I doubt it.
I don't see it. No. I would keep riding the pick and stuff, though. The longest reception has gone over every game with Wilson in there.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. Colts at the Broncos. Denver 3.5. Total is 43.5.
Here it is. Denver wins. It's over. So it's pretty much over. I mean, Miami would have to run the table, but then you win this game, you go up a couple games, then you have the tiebreaker. So I can only look at Denver here. Peyton off the bye.
Yep.
Something ready for Joseph's have something ready for Richardson.
I think the Broncos should feast
that's too
offensively.
short. That's too short. Colts had no business beating the Patriots.
All right, Buccaneers at the Chargers. LA 3 at home 46.5.
Look at these games, right?
I know.
What a schedule. That's a tough one.
All right, we'll get to the primetime game Sunday night and Monday night after win some, lose some coming up.
That's a tough one. College football, NFL playoffs right around the corner. Gave yourself a betting edge with the VSiN Pro subscription. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the leaderboard, who has the hot hand, power ratings, better ratings, betting systems from Steve Mackinnon, and the betting splits from DK and Circa. Start betting smarter today as little as $9.99. Everything you need, up your betting game. VSiN.com/subscribe. Join the team. Incredible offer, $9.99. First 30 days. VSiN.com.
Pauly recaps last night's betting action and win-lose up next. Also, juicy Sunday night game between Green Bay and Seattle next week. We'll give you that number. And I promise, I'm going to get to finally a true home game for this team in the NFL next week.
Got a good thing coming, so wait and see. It's a good.
You spoke, we listened. Introducing the all-new VSiN Watch app. Now, you can watch and listen to VSiN expert analysis live wherever you are. Missed a show? No problem. Catch replays of VSiN's full lineup at any time. View highlights sorted by sport. Or use the search feature to find specific teams and topics you're looking for. And the best part? It's free for a limited time. Download the VSiN Watch app today. Available now on the App Store and Google Play. And join us on the Sports Betting Network. last night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Not a lot of movement in the markets. Providence plus 175 in college hoops. Clemson beat Kentucky, and they were the only ACC team to beat the SEC. 1-9.
Yeah.
What a performance by the SEC, and off to a great start. And you called the Kentucky team total under in that one.
Well, it was a great. They were going to go into a hostile environment. There's no way Clemson could play Kentucky's brand of basketball. They had to muck it up and slow it down, and they absolutely did.
Yep. NHL, the Blues plus 180, and the NBA favorites went 10-1 straight up. Subscribe, be part of the team, VSiN.com. Our radio and podcast friends, you always want to see these tweets and videos. How about this? This is Fat Albert, the polar bear. He's the heaviest polar bear in Alaska. The average polar bear should weigh around 1,000 pounds. This guy checks in at 1,500. What are you feeding him? Look at this guy.
1,500.
Yeah, that's
he. Come on, he's going 3,000 pounds if he goes in.
Look at
an
him.
ounce.
Yeah, that neck. Can't find it. Nature is amazing on X. Put that out there.
His paws are the size of my chest.
Wow.
Can we get him on the scale, seriously?
Oh, wow. If he's coming
see what
at
he weighs?
You. Yeah. Can you imagine who tracks you down?
Oh, my God.
That guy means business.
Holy smokes.
That's like Game of Thrones. The episode where the White Walkers bring the guy back to life. It'd take 10 people to take that guy down.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure. I need the whole crew in to come down. That's awesome. Yeah. Polar bear. Lose some. College football committee and the playoff last night. Gotta have it.
There's another video first.
Gotta have it. Oh, sorry, I forgot about this. Oh, this is good. I forgot about that. The puppy riding on the dog's back. Yeah, that's it. Okay, there we go. Sure. You get me in there. That's so good. Just coming in the water. A little deep for me. Can you give me a little ride? Sure, get on, hop on. I go about 15 pounds. You go about 150. Free ride, no charge.
Puppy taxi.
Yeah, right. That's great. I love that. So strong. Lose some, the committee. Again, you should suffer your consequences for bad losses and what Alabama did. This is a good tweet from a SMU fan. So, they lost to a top 20 team by 3 points.
Yeah, they lost to BYU.
Yeah, and they changed quarterbacks afterwards and have won 9 in a row. They might be playing for their lives Saturday, while Alabama finished 4th in their conference. 2 weeks ago, lost by 21 to Oklahoma, didn't score a touchdown. They can sit at home and get in no matter what. What a system. Yeah, he's right. That's in play. They're as high as $5 now, Bama, to make the playoffs. Nuts. Ready to elevate your tailgate game? You have to try Sewell's, born from a backyard cookout in a mason jar of unforgettable flavor. Sewell's has become a southern favorite, lighting up taste buds from Georgia to the Carolinas. From ribs and wings to backyard burgers, Sewell takes every bite to the next level. Order online, Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Southern hospitality never tasted so good. Sewell'sBarbecueSauce.com. Go get it. Welcome aboard.
Okay, so we'll get back to the playoff rankings here in a minute. I want to finish off the look-ahead numbers next week to the NFL. The Sunday night game is big. Green Bay plays at Seattle. Packers are 346.5.
Too short.
What do you make of that total with the way the Seattle defense has been playing?
Yeah, you might have something there. I don't trust Geno Smith.
Oh, Geno will throw an INT in this game.
Yeah, and just that crazy game against the Jets. And first things first, can you get the special teams cleaned up?
Oh, boy.
That's issue number one. But I actually trust Green Bay's defense here, and they've been so good with the takeaways and top 5 in the turnover battle this year.
And don't forget, they're going to have extra rest because they play tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So to prepare, Monday night, doubleheader. Do you like it this late in the season?
Yes, I love it.
So do I. Bears are at the Vikings, Minnesota 643. Is that too big of a number?
I think it is.
The coaching change, how that might work?
It's going to be big. The team hated Eberflus. Hated him. Didn't respect him. Guy's not playing hard, too. And also Williams has been great since they promoted Thomas Brown.
Right, and they gave Minnesota fits the first time they played.
Yeah, well, they were up 11 with 30 seconds, but I understand. Tough game. Yeah, too many points.
And this is finally the last game on the schedule, the one I've been teasing for 20 minutes. Think about this for 1 second. The Falcons are laying 3.5 out here against the Raiders. I'm going to call this, the Raiders have been in Las Vegas now for 5 years? How many times have we watched the 49ers or the Chiefs or the Broncos or the Steelers or you name the team come to town with their fans and they overtake the stadium and it's like 60-40 or higher. I mean, when the Niners come here, it's 85-15.
Yeah.
Chiefs, it gets out of control. This is going to be 9 days before Christmas. Atlanta's fan base, come on. Let's be realistic for a second here. How many fans are going to travel out to Las Vegas 9 days before Christmas and the holidays to go to a Monday night game? My guess is not many. I think the players and the fans are going to be completely juiced and jacked up to play this game. I think the Raiders can, and I'm obviously anti-Atlanta, and I have been for a while. I think the Raiders can win this game outright. And this is going to be a typical move by the Raiders again. They'll screw it up.
Right.
They'll win games down the stretch, and then they'll be picking like 6th overall.
Beat Jacksonville, yeah, and blow the pick again. And be stuck with another retread at quarterback.
Yep. Good job, boys. You can see it on the wall, the writing's on the wall.
Yeah, good breakdown. Could happen.
Email, ftm@vsin.com. This is from Scott on the College Football Committee. It is clearly evident now that the SEC runs college football, and you cannot argue it anymore. No, you're right.
Oh, and ESPN, too. Again, I've been on this for years. I would go on radio shows all over the country and say how ridiculous this was because this conference won squat before the BCS, which was formed by the former SEC commissioner, Roy Kramer, I think his name was. And then I heard this bogus crap of grind, week in, week out, best conference, all this, and then it became protect the brand. And then these billion-dollar TV deals and ESPN propping them up. And suddenly, I always go back to Auburn. I always go back to that. Campbell was the quarterback, Cadillac Williams and Ronnie Brown were the running backs, went undefeated, nobody cared.
Yep.
Nobody cared.
That was 20 years ago.
And now it's, let's get 5 teams in. Why not? Lane Kiffin's still crying. Oh, we should have gone. What are they watching? And for Sankey to say, well, October 10th, this has to go incredibly well for us. Fine, just leave. Do your own thing. And if that's what you're worried about, and you're so concerned, well, we got to have Alabama in, or you can't piss off the SEC.
Here's what I don't
They didn't even win it last year. They didn't even make the game. So if they want to go with the Big Ten and play their own tournament, let them. If they want to ruin the sport, let them. They're babies. They have to get their own way. They won't play 9 league games. They play crap in November, as you said. They don't drop when they lose. They have half the frickin' conference in the preseason top 25. It's outrageous. We're ignoring results. We did it with Florida State. Wins don't matter. We're doing it here. You get your asses kicked 2 weeks ago at Oklahoma, you should be out. It's plain and simple.
Yep, totally agree.
And this current top 25 thing, what they did last night was an embarrassment. Because everything else points to Miami. Because Duke's 26, Louisville's 28. ESPN pointed out the wins against bowl eligible. Teams with a winning record, bowl eligible road.
Right. The part that always pissed me off for, 15 years was the fact that this was a creation on their part when they called it a weekly grind, even though, and I mean, look, it at the very top, I've always said, you can't deny, at the very top, the league is awesome. But this crap about, for years, playing Vanderbilt and Kentucky, and when Tennessee was down and they were garbage, and I could go on, Mississippi State, more than half the league stunk every year, but oh my God, we're on the road and we got to prepare to go play Kentucky, who averages 13 points a game. No other conference has to do this. They made it up, and they kept saying it over and over and over again, and people bought it. They fell in line. They turned into sheep, and they're like, they're right. It's a weekly grind in this league.
If you repeat the lie over and over again, people start to believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's correct.
What it was.
I was begging other conferences to do that as well. Call it a grind in your league. Why not? If you do it long enough, people will buy in.
Big Ten, too. Indiana has no business being in. Not with that resume.
Yeah, because here's the thing, too.
If Penn State, we tell me Penn State's the number 1 seed if they beat Oregon? I mean, I guess, but watching these games all year, close call after close call after close call, okay.
This is from Brody.
Georgia Tech screwed the whole thing up. If Georgia Tech wouldn't have blown that game against Georgia.
Right. You can also tweet the show at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Pauly Howard. Brody says, he enjoyed the first block of the show today. If you missed it, you can go back on the VSiN Watch app. You can always get replays of every show on that. Get it at the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store on your phone today. He said, I agree with everything, but the Indiana comments. Schedule was given to them. So was Miami's. So Miami's schedule was given to them. So I don't want to hear about these other people complaining about, they played nobody. Well, compare what to who, to what? The rankings that are made up anyway and they're arbitrary?
Yeah, I can't get your good wins because you make the top 25. Mm-hmm. You won't put these ACC teams in the top 25.
Why is
Yet I got to see Missouri and Illinois every week, which is planned.
Sure. You're telling me Missouri, by default, automatically is better than Louisville?
Come on. Missouri's ass. Never should have been in there to begin with. Illinois had to go to overtime with Purdue. End of discussion.
Yeah.
Come on with Indiana. The SOS was in the hundreds before the Ohio State game. Come on. Ugh.
Played one good team, got spanked.
Yeah.
And oh, by the way, the Ohio State thing, too.
Oh, I know the drop, yeah. Drop 4 spots.
4 spots.
Yeah.
Sal Palantonio from ESPN joins the program coming up next. How high is he now on the Philadelphia Eagles? Higher than ever before. And we'll get his best bets for the week as well coming up next here on VSiN.
Sports bettors, this is your chance. VSiN is bringing you an unbeatable deal. Get a VSiN